Hello, my name is Adam Rax, and I'll be interviewing uh, a male today who's going to discuss his time about leisure. What is your name?
My name is Tiborat.
Where are you from
Well,
originally?
originally I am Hungarian, so I was born in Hungary, and then I came to the United States when I was a young teenager.
Um, where did you have your education?
Well, after I came here during high school, I went to Burbank, and then from Burbank I was lucky enough to go to UCLA, and I entered there as a mathematics major, which I quickly changed after the first semester to biochemistry. And I had thoughts about doing engineering, and I ended up still with biochemistry. And once I finished that, I went to work in research in biochemistry, and then a year later, I applied to dental school, and then I went to USC Dental School. And after I finished dental school, it became working time.
Um,
So,
so
yes,
you're a dentist now.
yes, I'm a dentist now.
So would you how many hours per week do you say you spend at work?
Well, now after 35 years, I moved into part time. But up to 35 years, then in the beginning, I used to work 6 days a week. Then it became like 35, 40 hours a week for another 30 years. And then starting this year, I moved to part time where I work once or twice a week. And so this is good time.
So would you say you have a lot more leisure time now that you're retired or semi-retired?
Absolutely, it's a day and night of a difference that the extra leisure time is available and abundant, while before it was just scarce and much less. So yes, it's good times where leisurely activities can be more easily accomplished.
How many hours do you have for leisure in a day during the week?
That's a difficult question. My simple answer is many. Seems like most of the time can be considered leisure, although leisure is kind of a technical terminology because if I go out and exercise, is that leisure or I'm just making my body more ready for healthier living, and therefore, depending on how you look at it. But I consider most of my time at this day and age leisure.
For the purpose of this interview, we're going to be discussing the word leisure as anything you do in your free time that is not work, meaning your occupation, dentistry. For the remainder of the interview, that's what the definition will be. So, once again, around how many hours do you spend in leisure a week?
Technically, since let's say I work 10 hours a week, any other hour is leisurely. So, depending on, sleeping obviously is not work, is that leisure? So it gets technical depending on how you want to look at it. But it's hard to say. Mostly all of my time is leisure at the moment because I only work 10 hours a week.
Does your leisure change from the week to the weekend for
Uh,
activities you do?
yes, you could consider as such. Since the family has more free time during the weekend, we may end up doing more leisurely family activities on the weekend. Also, socialization of meeting up with people happens more on the weekend. So if there's a party, usually that's a Saturday, sometimes a Sunday, because most people don't work and therefore it's easier to get together and do uh, party time when it's on the weekend. So yes, the weekend leisure time is different from the midweek times when it's more around, not so much involved with family and friends and just more restricted to whoever is involved in your leisure.
Would you say that you have enough leisure time?
Oh, plenty enough. I love it. I love it.
Um,
I think I have. enough leisure time. I'm happy that I am working part of the time. It gives me a different challenge in life, because if it's 100% leisure, it might get boring, although I haven't noticed it yet. But having a chance to work some hours without the necessity of working full time or plus, it makes work almost fun leisure too. Although obviously it's for profit, so we still consider it work. But yes, I'm happy with the amount of leisure time I have, and I wish I would have had this much leisure time 5, 10 years ago. But obviously, we still have to work to make a living. But I finally got to the point that I'm gonna be able to manage that I have more leisure time and still stay afloat.
How do you typically spend your leisure time? What activities do you do?
Well, my number one activity became tennis now. I used to play regularly a long time ago. Lately, last 5 years, I just played maybe once a week. Now I'm trying to play 4 or 5 times a week, and I get involved. We set up different matches. I go to different places or clubs, and it does chew up many of my morning hours. And I also try to combine that with dog walking. Dog walking is also an exercise just like tennis, and it's enjoyable. And the dog likes it, we like it, puts us in a better shape, and it's good for the mind, and it's also good for me checking out what's happening in the neighborhood. And in noontime, then I have more time to sip my coffee, have lunch, maybe take a little rest. I also like to watch sports activities, European soccer leagues. So if I have time, I may watch an hour or so of sport activities, whatever happens to be on TV. If not, I may go out to my garden and do my garden designs. And as much as people think that I love gardening, I love the gardening planning aspect. I don't necessarily love the physical aspect of it, but I guess that keeps me in shape also. So we do gardening, and then sometimes evenings we can go and watch a movie, maybe walk on the beach again. Seems like a lot of physical activities, but it's fun. And sometimes just read a magazine, maybe do Sudoku, uh, puzzles just to sharpen up the brain a little bit. Uh, I could rattle on probably, and it just depends from week to week. It just depends. And if we can go on vacation, which obviously is also leisure, we love to travel to many places, and that's also a satisfying experience. And if I think about it more, I probably could come up with different activities, but right offhand, these are the basic leisurely activities that I'm doing this past couple of weeks.
Um, how much time do you spend using social media, texting, other apps, or internet surfing in a normal day?
Well, actually, I use the internet quite a bit because I'm into the stock market. So stock market is through the internet. So therefore, I'm sitting on a computer. Sometimes not at all during the day, and it might be 2 hours another day. So it just depends on which day of the week that I do my studies, so I can sort of supervise my activity. Watching the news, I could spend a half an hour easily checking up on news articles on the internet as to what current events are and what's happening around the world. But I also watch TV more to sort of get up to date as to what's the news events. Texting, I'd say minimal, but obviously we're part of the world where we also text, so I do some texting, but rather minimal.
What do you do when you have more extended time off? For example, vacation, summer break.
Well, at the moment, almost the same thing. Then I can unite with the family, and then when we have summer breaks or school breaks, then we have more chance to take the family along on a vacation, and therefore that could be a different aspect. While during school time, I have to do leisurely activities that doesn't involve the kids mostly, unless it's after school program. While during school breaks, we can go all together on vacations or just biking, rollerblading, whatever might be happening at the time.
So for the vacation aspect, can you name some places you've been?
Well, yes, the kids can attest to it. We've been to a couple of cruises on the Caribbeans. Uh, some cruise on the Mediterranean Sea. We travel a lot. We like Europe, not just because we're European background, but Europe has a certain charm to it, and so we like to visit some European countries and old cities and historical places. And we've been to the United States, multiple places, East Coast, from New York to Florida. We've covered many areas, and they're all wonderful places to visit. And I still have to say that California is one of my top choices still.
Um, so back to leisure activities. What would you say are your favorite leisure activities that you enjoy doing by yourself?
Uh, well, since tennis I don't play by myself, and I hate to play by myself, so that kind of rules that aspect out. Uh, the primary thing that comes to my mind is researching my data for the stocks and stock market, and watching the news is primarily what I do by myself. The rest of the activities I usually do with others. The dog walking I do with my wife and the dog, obviously. And tennis, we need partners to play, and especially since I like to play doubles, we have multiple people playing with us. Uh, some gardening, you're right. Now that I think about it, gardening I kind of do by myself, and the planning of it, and the fixing the certain situations around the house. Uh, that's basically it for the moment that I can think of.
So for your leisure activities, you clearly have time for your friends and your family. Would you say you equalize them, or one has a lot more hours in it than the other?
Since the wife doesn't work anymore, the family is sort of, and since she's part of the family, we spend a lot of time together. Uh, Missy doesn't do much, so we spend some time with her. The son, we used to go to his soccer games and basketball games and all the other games, but that's no more. So I think it's balanced, but obviously with friends, we spend some morning hours and then more in the family with the rest of the time. And on the weekends, we tend to do more socializing with friends, uh, but then still spend enough time with the family.
Okay, perfect. So what would you say are some of your favorite types of music, artist, genres?
Well, I'm an old timer, so I'm a rock and roller. So my favorite music was and is rock and roll. Although I do like modern music, I do not appreciate rap just the way I am. However, there's a lot of new hip hop stuff that's decent. And then obviously new music like Pitbull and J Lo, etc. They provide, and Bruno Mars, people like that do produce enjoyable music that we like to listen to. And it just depends. I don't have one particular favorite. I used to listen to classical music in my younger days. Somehow lately I haven't. Maybe I need to turn back to it. We also like country music. I think the scale is rather wide. It just depending on which day and what's the mood.
Okay. A lot of people enjoy reading. So I'm gonna ask you if you have any favorite books.
Uh, yeah, Mark Twain used to be one of my favorites because of the stories. I don't have particularly any favorite books. Uh, I just read some of them that's philosophical, some of them maybe that's just simply entertaining. And in the old days, I used to read a lot of books that was scientifically oriented because of work. But yeah, I don't have any one favorite author per se.
Okay, so are you watching any TV shows right now, or in the past that you've really enjoyed?
Uh, yeah, in the old days, I used to watch Cheers religiously, and Friends was kind of fun. Uh, there's a new TV series that's coming up right now called This Is Us, and the wife and I were waiting for it to continue. I think today or tomorrow was the second season coming in, so that should be fun. Sometimes we watch entertainment purposes, Dancing with the Stars. Uh, yeah, it just depends what which day it is. But yeah, if we have time, and I guess we should have more time, but sometimes we run out of time doing other leisurely activities. We like to watch some TV shows, and some medical shows are kind of good. And what's the show that we watch that's about investigating certain forensic files? That's the one. Sometimes we watch forensic file just to see how scientifically they can calculate out who was the culprit on the murder.
Okay, um, moving on to another topic, but back to leisure. Um, when you have leisure time and you're not in a rush, what kinds of food do you like to eat?
Uh, uh, when I'm not in a rush I like to eat some salad. I like steak and chicken and fish, as long as it's fresh fish. I also love pasta of any kind and bread with butter. Uh, you name it, I eat it. It just depends sometimes, as my son used to say, depending what you're in the mood for. Uh, Sushi, it just depends. Some days I'm into it, but some days not as much. Pasta I can eat any day, although they say too much of carbohydrate is not that good, so I try to limit that myself.
What would you say is your favorite restaurant to eat at?
My favorite restaurant is that Mexican place called Sole Luna. They do the carnitas very tastily. Their price is reasonable. There are a couple of other places that we frequent. There was this fish place. Unfortunately, they just closed it not too long ago. That was good for the blackened tuna that we used to eat. I don't have one particular favorite place, and as a matter of fact, we were just discussing with friends. Instead of going back to the same old place, maybe it's time to research and investigate and start going to new places instead of just going back to the same old place.
Okay. What's the what's a unique leisure activity that you have done before but you're not doing right now? Because maybe
Uh,
for shape, physical condition, don't have the time, or just don't have the particular resources for it,
um,
or something
the
that
only
you
thing I
wish
can
you could
think
still
of
do.
is the only leisurely activity that I love that we're not doing right now is the cruising. And the only time limitation is that the kids are in school. I can't think of anything because the truth is that if I really want to do something, I have the finance to do it and I have the most of the time to do it. So if I really want to do something, I will. So if I'm not doing something, it's probably not on my priority list too high.
Okay. Is there any leisure activity that you would like to start up or start participating in the future?
Yeah. Actually, I thought about it. I used to play golf a little bit, and I kind of went away from it due to lack of time. And now that I'm having significantly more time, I would like to go back to sharpen up my golf skills, and just for the challenge of it. And that's the primary one. Skiing, I'm gonna get back on skiing this year, that I sort of abandoned for the last 7 years due to my son's soccer activities. But skiing will be something that I'll be getting more back to it this coming winter. Um, and then maybe a little bit more bike riding. I kind of used to do more, and I want to get back more to that.
Okay, that'll be all the questions for today. Thank you for participating in the interview, and have a nice day.